Hello, this is Manuela, your guiding light, and this is a part 2 of Soul Plan Revealing Spiritual Reason. So, as we said, for every challenge in your life, there is a spiritual reason for it. Now, behind that spiritual reason, it's a spiritual lesson. So, in this video, I would like to go in the last 3 scenarios a little bit deeper about what they're learning and what would be the most possible outcome or the best outcome for them, the best choice that they could take in this lifetime or the best actions that they could make in this lifetime and where that would bring them. So if we go with scenario 1 where the couple didn't want to adopt a child, so the soul lesson is really to adopt a child. The soul lesson of Soul B and Soul A and Soul B, the couple that didn't want to adopt a child, it's true love and compassion. So which means not loving just your child and your family, loving absolutely every child with true love and compassion. And that can be only really learned by adopting another child. If you can adopt a child and love them as your own, well, then you really master that lesson. So that was the lesson. Obviously, that was the past life was really blocking really a lot this couple. They couldn't understand the lesson. There was damage that's done along in a past life, and they didn't heal the past life, so they weren't ready for that in this lifetime. Even that they were very loving people. They had many friends. And you would say they are absolutely perfect to adopt a child. But the thing or the point that they didn't want to adopt a child, that they seen that as something really bad that they couldn't do, it's actually showing quite opposite, that they don't know about true love and compassion. If you can't adopt a child, another child and love them as your own, then you don't have that lesson. You didn't master that lesson. You can't do that. You don't have a true love and compassion inside of yourself. So the best scenario here would be if they did adopt a child. But that's out of the plan because of the age, because of the time frame. The time frame is past for that. So what happens now? The Soul B will most likely leave the earth, and the Soul A has a major lesson. It is really this major lesson is for Soul A. Because if we really look at the scenario, Soul B moved away, met another woman and loved her own children like his own. So he learned that lesson. You can see that he almost learned that lesson because he adopted another woman's children and loved them and accepted them as his own. So he was very close to that. Now, Soul A, the female, did not learn the lesson. So what's happening now, there's going to be very much of a rejection. She will want to so deeply somebody to adopt this child of her ex-partner that she loves so much. She wouldn't be able to do it herself because she's not in a position. So she would hope that somebody else will do that. Everybody will be rejecting that. For her to look back in her side of self, to remember when she rejected adopting a child. So that means there's going to be a lot of rejections. Everybody that she would hope that can adopt this child will reject it. Very possible that somebody that she's done very much wrong to, a person that she will never even think about adopting this child, could adopt that child and teach her. That's when she's going to learn. When somebody that she's not even expecting to adopt a child and give the love and life to that child that deserve, that's when she's going to learn a lesson. She's going to look back and remember herself when she didn't want to adopt a child. And when this person out of the blue that she couldn't even think about that would actually be able to do that she judged so much, will actually adopt the child and give the child the love that it deserves. That's when she's going to learn the lesson. And in the next lifetime, definitely the same scenario will repeat. Hopefully what happens here, we bring the memory of our past life a lot. It stays in our cellular memory, it stays in our soul imprints. So basically it's in our soul imprints. Our soul imprints, once we enter into body, that soul imprints imprinted in our cellular memory. So she will have definitely the memory of somebody else adopting this child, and that feeling of joy, because right now in this lifetime, when somebody adopts this child that she loves so much, and give the child the love and everything the child needs, she will feel the joy. She will feel the joy of and contented, and she's gonna feel great, and that's the feeling that's gonna stay in her soul imprint. So when she comes in the next lifetime, she will remember that feeling of how it was when somebody adopted a child, and it's gonna help her. That feeling of that joy and gratitude will actually help her to adopt child herself in the next lifetime. So that is this scenario one. Considering that this couple are very young souls, they are not ready to heal the world, they have no big soul missions at all, they are still young souls, and we're talking about young souls about 20 lifetimes. So they still learning the major lesson of parenthood. So they have no other responsibility, which would make much harder. If they were healers and they needed to do the healing work, well, that would be much harder. But that's the reason. That's the reason why healers cannot engage in healing work until they learn the parenthood lessons. Now, moving on to second scenario, where the couple that are both healers, and they are aware of their psychic abilities and their healing abilities, are on a cusp. Basically, they are on a cusp. When we're saying they're on a cusp, they are entering, they are just about to complete learning the lessons of parenthood and entering into new phase of their soul where they using their healing gifts, when they're meant to use their healing gifts. So basically after this lesson, very possibly after this lifetime, next lifetime, they will be doing the healing work. So in this lifetime, they're very much aware of their healing gifts, and they have desire to do it as well, but also there's a big block. The block is that they didn't learn the lessons of parenthood. Now, the soul lesson here in this couple is commitment. Commitment to children, commitment to parenthood, which they are struggling at the moment. So this soul A walked away from marriage. Now, we would say if she's learning commitment, wasn't that wrong what she did? We're talking about committed to children. So maybe it was wrong that she didn't take a child with her. That was wrong. The fact that she left the child there, that's what was wrong. That's where she made a mistake. Because that is something that she repeated again, she's done it in the past life. So lesson of commitment to children, to parenthood, must be learned in this lifetime. So where they are at the moment, because she's a spiritual teacher and she raised her energy vibration, soul A, it's almost ready to do the healing work. She learned a lot about it. She raised her energy vibration. The only thing that's stopping her is the lesson of learning commitment to parenthood. So in order for her to do the healing work, she has to learn this lesson. That means she has to have a child and commit to it, raise the child until it's ready to fly. So because universe, we are at that point in our evolution as a human beings, as a souls, and earth itself, where the healers are very much important. All healers are guided to do their healing work. Universe will push all the healers to do their healing work because they are so needed here. So that's the reason why this soul A will not have a choice of staying in a relationship that she is and not having the child. That means she's going to need another lifetime. So universe will push her to leave the relationship and complete this soul lesson in this lifetime, so in next lifetime she could focus on healing work. So how long it's going to take, then it's up to her. Once she understands her soul lesson, and that it's really the most important. It's not important to please the person, it's not important to please her family, it's not important to please anybody. It's important the soul lesson that she needs to have a child. And universe will push her to leave this relationship and to have a child, to meet a partner that's going to help her to have the child and learn that lesson. So that's where she is now. And if she does that, which I'm feeling very much will do that, the time it's up to her. The quicker she understands that that's what she needs to do, the better for her. Because logically, we humans think that there's a certain period in our life or age in our life that we can have children. Unfortunately, the universe doesn't say that. There is no time frame of when you can have children in the spiritual world. There's no age, there's no limit. So she might take another 10 years to stay in this relationship until it really breaks down and she decides to move on and leave the relationship. So really the timing, it's up to her. So right now I'm feeling on her soul plan, it's not choice of staying in this relationship. It's almost like it's not there. Because she's a healer, healers don't have so much of choice. It's not that they don't have it, it's there for them. But because they are older souls and they are ready to do the healing work, they soul always know that choice, it's not an option. All the soul sees choice as not an option. It's really not an option. They will always know that they can do it, that they can actually follow the path and the plan that they sign up to. And the most important, all the souls are very much want to learn the lessons. They don't want to be stuck in one lesson and not learning the lesson for a very long time. That's why they are very agitated. That's why this female energy, this female soul A in this relationship, it's so fiery, it's so agitated, and it's so forcefully angry with her partner because he doesn't want to heal, because she knows that her soul needs the lesson and she knows that she will not stay. All the souls will not stay in a choice, in a situation where it doesn't serve the purpose, when they're not learning the lesson, when they actually squashing the soul. So all the souls knows that, so they will always leave. So when I'm looking on the soul plan, there is not even a slight chance that this marriage will last forever. And the soul B here, the male partner, already can sense that and knows that. And he is prepared. The universe is always preparing us and preparing him to end this relationship. Preparing him for change. Even if it's not a change to actually have the child, but change to let go of the relationship. So sometimes on a soul plan we can see that it could go either way, but really it depends of the time frame and depends of the soul. If the soul is so connected and soul is very much aware of the soul lesson and wants to learn that lesson, sometimes we can't see, it's almost like that's the only option. Like on this soul plan, that's the only option, because that's where soul A is heading. So zooming ahead, wanting to have this child and learn the lesson. It's not just about desire of having child, but it's what is stronger here. It's desire of the soul to learn the lesson. And all souls, spiritual teachers and healers, they all have that. They have that big desire of learning the lesson, not being stuck in a situation that doesn't serve the lesson, where they can't do anything. They can't do that. They're struggling with that. They become very angry and very depressed. So whenever they're in that sort of phase or in a relationship where they're not learning and not growing as a soul, they will hit the rock bottom with depression, be very suicidal, because they feel that they're doing nothing. They are really wasting time. They are on earth and not learning lesson. That is a very big no for spiritual people that are very connected. When they feel that they're not learning anything, not serving the purpose, well, they're asking themselves, on a soul level, they're asking themselves a big question: why am I here? So I'm not meant to be here if I can't grow as a soul. So very often they will be faced with heavy depression and suicidal, and very often they do take their own life. So that's the reason why spiritual people are always zooming towards learning the lesson. They don't see as a choice staying in a situation or in a relationship that doesn't serve the purpose. They don't see that as a choice. They see that as a jail sentence. That's how it feels that to them. It's like a jail sentence, forever, being locked somewhere where you can't do anything when you're not growing as a soul. And then we have last scenario, which is about soul aid, that it's attracting all people that lying and backstabbing. So what is really the soul lesson here? Yes, the soul contract is for the spiritual teacher to teach people that are lying. They sign a soul contract with spiritual teacher to help them to change. But what's in there for a spiritual teacher? Why did spiritual teacher decide to sign a soul contract with them? What is teaching a spiritual teacher? Well, the major lesson here is immediate forgiveness. So if any spiritual teacher knows about forgiveness, immediate forgiveness is the most important, which means that true forgiveness, where you see the lie, you see the backstabbing, and you immediately forgive. You don't give much attention to it. You actually treat that person as it didn't happen, as it didn't lie, as it didn't backstab you. So when we look at this scenario, there's a lot of soul contracts here that assign soul contract with a spiritual teacher to help them to change. So regardless if they learn or they not, some of them maybe learned the lesson, some of them maybe didn't, majority of them didn't. But once the spiritual teacher learned the lesson, all the soul contracts are gone. It's removed from her soul plan, regardless if they learned the lesson or not. If the spiritual teacher learned the lesson, all the soul contracts are removed from her soul plan, which means she has no more responsibility to actually teach them anything. In the same time, what happens when the soul contracts are removed? The soul ties of lessons are dissolved. So, which indicates that spiritual teacher has no emotions anymore towards those lies. All these people that lied and backstabbed her, she has no emotions anymore. Maybe in the past, while the soul ties were there and the soul contracts were there, there was a really big desire to uncover them. There was a lot of anger. There would be a lot of feeling of injustice. Once the soul contracts are removed from her soul plan, so there's no anymore that feelings anymore. There's no negative emotions anymore towards these people. The ties are dissolved. And what is the most important? That a spiritual teacher has mastered the lesson of forgiveness, which she did. She put in a practice to recognize and see the lie and the backstabbing, and immediately in her mind she would say, I forgive you, which helped a lot, which taught her to disconnect from the lie. In the past, she would see the lie and she would analyze in her mind, why is that person lying? What am I supposed to do with it? and all the negative emotions would come on surface. She would feel anger towards that person, and she would have to act on it. When you have the emotions, you have to act on it. And because of the soul contract was to actually act on it and point to the person that they need to change, that was exactly what she was needed to do. In the same time, she didn't like that. She didn't like to be the person that point fingers on people. Now, as she learned the lesson and the soul contracts are completed, not completed, but removed from her soul plan, the soul contracts can be only completed if both learn the lessons. But if the other souls didn't learn the lesson, that means they only removed from spiritual teacher's soul plan. And which leaves the spiritual teacher a freedom. And not just the freedom, but also giving her the mastery of being a spiritual teacher, which means that she can work now with anybody. And there are no blocks there. People can lie and backstab her as much as they want. She will not act on it. She will not have any negative emotions towards it. She will see it and find the right way to go around the lies and backstabbing and still do the work. This was very important because in the past that was blocking her work a lot. Being stuck when she sees the lies and backstabbing and not knowing what to do with it was really a big block for her work. In order for her to expand her work and to work with absolutely everybody, not just honest people, but liars and backstabbers, because that's who they are. That means she accepts them who they are. She doesn't want to change them, and she forgives them immediately. And the only thing that she's really learning now is to adjust how to work with them around the lie and backstabbing. And that is something that her guides are teaching her now, which is important. The next step basically is for her to release the pattern of uncovering the lies and backstabbing. Right now, there's still a little bit of that energy inside of her, that pattern that was always uncovering the lies and had that need to uncover the lies. So that pattern needs to be released of her body. So even now, when she sees lies, she has just a little bit of resistance there to move forward from it or to work around it. She needs a little bit longer time to communicate with her guides and angels to receive the message how to still help to this person, ignoring the backstabbing and lies. So that is something that she's adjusting to it now. But the immediate forgiveness, she already mastered it. And it makes her feel good. And it will be very beneficial for her work, especially in the future, for the future goals and plans that her angels have for her, and that it's on her soul plan. So it always works for both sides. It's never only one-sided. Especially spiritual teachers, they have to really master themselves to be able to work with everybody. Even though there's souls that don't understand Akashic records, we're still trying to find a way for these spiritual teachers to explain to them in a way that they can understand. And sometimes it can be very challenging working with very different energy, with very low vibrations, but that is something that every spiritual teacher sign up for. To be a true spiritual teacher and to be able to work with everybody, that is what you have to master. And that's where the spiritual teacher is. So it's almost like it's spied off all the trauma of lies and backstabbing and all her enemies that she signed up soul contracts with, to teach them to change and to teach her the most important lesson of true immediate forgiveness, which is going to be very beneficial for her. So I hope you understand this. The soul lesson defines who you're going to sign a soul contract with. When you're planning your soul plan, you have a soul lessons there that you're going to learn. So immediately, all the souls will see that, and then they will offer you a soul contract. They're going to say, okay, well, you are learning, for example, to forgive immediately. Well, I'm learning to stop lying and backstabbing. So how about we sign a soul contract where I'm going to backstab you, and to the point until you learn to forgive me immediately. And you, before you learn your lesson, you will point to me that I'm lying and make me feel bad about it, because every time I'm lying, I feel bad about it. It kills my confidence. So I will need to change. And that's how the soul contract works. That's how soul contracts are signed. Not you going out there looking for souls who's going to sign a soul contract with you. It's based on your soul lesson. Whatever soul lesson you have, it's there. It's out there on your plan. And all the other souls, especially from your soul group, can actually look. When they want to sign soul contract with somebody to learn their lesson, they will search for the souls that learning forgiveness. And then they're going to offer them a soul contract. So that's how it works. And that's where, for every challenge, there's a spiritual reason for it. And when you understand that spiritual reason, and when you understand what you're learning, it's almost like it gives that engine a boost of fuel, and everything sort of speeds up. When you don't understand what you're learning, and when you don't understand the spiritual reason behind your challenge or your problem, it's like that engine is dying. It's getting slower and slower, and not much is happening. Once you understand it, it's like a fuel to your engine, and everything starts to speed up. And you finally will realize that you learned the lesson. When you learn the lesson, you have that different feeling. You can feel it. Every time when you learn the lesson, you will feel it. Trust me, you will feel it. There's a difference in your energy vibration. Your energy vibration shifts immediately. There's a difference in your energy vibration. You will feel different when you learn the lesson. It's almost like some weight off your shoulders is off. And with time, your challenge, your logical challenge, with logical eyes that you see, it might not be right away wiped off from you, but it is going to speed up the process of finding the solution. And in this case, the spiritual teacher will never have people that lying towards her. She will always have people that lying, because she can't change them. But there won't be any animosity, any emotions towards them. She'll be able to do the work. She'll be able to do her work, because that was the reason for the soul contracts. So she can do the work with everybody, and not being stuck when she sees the backstabbing and lies. So I'm sending you lots of love and light. And if you did like this video, please click on like or subscribe. Bye bye for now.